Arthur Ashe Stadium, Flushing Meadows, New York. Philippine flags fill every corner of the stands. One name rises above the noise, over and over. Alex, Alex, Alex. This was meant to be a fairy tale. A wildcard pairing, one Filipino, one Canadian, walking onto the biggest court in tennis with a whole country behind them. The energy in that stadium was electric, and the expectations were sky high. Then, in the span of a few sets, it all came crashing down, faster than anyone in that arena could have imagined. A round of 16 exit caught almost everyone off guard, a dream cut short before it could fully bloom. In the quiet after the match, Eala faced the cameras and said something nobody expected. She walked into that press room still processing a match that had slipped away. On the surface she looked calm, but anyone paying attention could see the disappointment sitting close to the skin. What came out of her mouth next surprised people. She didn't hide behind vague answers. She laid out exactly where things unraveled: the miscommunication, the missed timing, the rhythm that simply refused to click when it mattered most. Then she did something even more striking. She turned around and gave full credit to the players who had beaten her. No hedging, no bitterness, no searching for excuses, just plain, unfiltered respect. By the end of it, she left tennis fans with a message that felt bigger than one lost match, something that stuck with people long after the cameras stopped rolling. We're going through that press conference here, unpacking what went wrong on court, what it says about who Eala is as a competitor, and where her US Open story goes next. If you follow this sport, stick around. The mixed doubles storyline had already become one of the most talked about angles of this US Open long before a single serve was struck. The moment Eala and Felix Auger-Aliassime accepted their wildcard spot, social media lit up. It wasn't hard to understand why. These two brought completely different weapons to the table. Eala's aggressive net play, her lightning reflexes, her return game that puts opponents on their heels from the very first shot of a rally. Pair that with Auger-Aliassime's massive serve and his commanding physical presence on court, and you had a genuinely unpredictable, dangerous duo. Contrast like that can create magic in doubles. But the draw gave them no room to ease in. Waiting in the round of 16 were Elina Svitolina and Gael Monfils, a partnership built on years of experience at the very top of the sport. Anticipation had built for weeks. Filipino supporters traveled from all over. Arthur Ashe was packed wall to wall. This felt like a full-blown occasion, something bigger than a single doubles match. And almost immediately, something was off. The connection that had looked so effortless in practice was nowhere to be found. Timing that should have been second nature suddenly felt a beat behind. Shots that had been landing cleanly all week started clipping the net instead. Eala and Auger-Aliassime kept battling, kept trying to force their way back into the match, but Svitolina and Monfils always seemed to be one step ahead, especially in the moments that mattered the most. That experience gap showed up exactly when it counts most, in the pressure points, in the long, grinding rallies where composure decides everything. Point after point tilted the wrong way, and once a match starts slipping like that against opponents that's seasoned and battle-hardened, it becomes incredibly hard to claw back. For Eala personally, the loss stung. She had walked in with genuine belief, real conviction this pairing could go deep. Instead, she got a hard reminder of how unforgiving elite sport can be. This is where competitors reveal who they really are, in how they handle the moment everything falls apart. She sat down with no forced smile, no scripted answers, just honesty, and didn't dodge the first question. She explained, calmly and without hesitation, that the chemistry which felt so natural during preparation simply never translated once the actual match started. Against opponents as battle-tested and experienced as Svitolina and Monfils, even the smallest timing errors turned into major openings they were quick to exploit. She made clear the coordination wasn't there, and that it affected everything they tried to build on court. What stood out wasn't just that she admitted it, it was how she framed it, with no blame assigned. She noted her partner had given everything, that they communicated and adjusted mid-match. Sometimes preparation just doesn't translate on the day it counts. Then she went further, crediting her opponents without a single qualifier, saying plainly that the other team had been better that day and executed their plan cleanly. No excuses. That is what real sportsmanship looks like. Her respect for Svitolina and Monfils wasn't politeness, it was earned. Those two dismantled the wildcard pairing methodically, targeting weaknesses with cold, calculated precision from the very first game. They attacked Eala's second serve relentlessly. They pushed the ball down the middle again and again, disrupting the communication and spacing between her and her partner at the net. Straightforward tactics, devastatingly effective. The result was Eala pushed onto the back foot at the net, somewhere she usually dominates, while Auger-Aliassime never found his footing either. The match never felt within reach, and she knew it as it happened. She admitted they knew coming in it would be tough, that their opponents know how to close out big matches, and the rhythm simply never arrived. That's the thin margin at the top of this sport. On any given day, the gap between winning and losing often has less to do with raw talent and more to do with execution under pressure. The very best players find ways to manufacture results even when absolutely nothing is flowing their way. Eala and Auger-Aliassime aren't quite there yet as a partnership, but this match handed them a lesson no practice court ever could. Step back and look at the bigger picture, because this is only one chapter. Eala is 21. She already holds a WTA Tour title, already sits in the top 20 of the world rankings, and became the first Filipino woman ever to win a Grand Slam singles match. She has packed stadiums, united a nation behind her, and shown an entire generation of young Filipino athletes that the biggest stages on earth are not out of reach. A round of 16 exit in mixed doubles doesn't erase that history, it adds another layer to it. Every elite athlete goes through moments like this, and the ones who go on to greatness are the ones who take the lessons and come back sharper. And make no mistake, her singles run at this US Open is far from over. Seeded 18th in the women's draw, she still has every tool needed for a deep tournament, the talent, the mindset, the momentum, and now an extra edge that only comes from a loss that actually hurts. The tennis world is still watching closely. The Philippines is still cheering loudly. And anyone who thinks Eala is done proving herself clearly hasn't been paying attention. This story is far from finished, and neither is her US Open. If you want to follow every step of her singles journey from here, subscribe and turn on notifications, because this is only getting started.